100, 99, 98, 97, 96. You all right? Hello, everyone. I'm Ian Nicholas coming to you live from the New Canaan High School gym where we have girls volleyball action. The New Canaan Rams matching up with their arch rival, the Darien Blue Wave. These two teams opened their seasons against each other last week, and the Blue Wave won 3-1 against New Canaan. Two of these teams have been competitive for a long time. And speaking of people who have been around a long time doing great work, DAF Media's Damian Andrew joins me tonight on the call. Damian, how excited are you for this one?
Ian, it's, as always, great to be with
Yes.
you. This is exciting. We talked about this last Friday in the 7-on-7 football game between Darien and Notre Dame. No matter what sport these two schools play, it's always exciting, and the energy level is always high, and I expect more of the same this afternoon here at New Canaan High School. In front of a certainly less than capacity crowd. Obviously, limited spectators allowed into girls volleyball matches this fall because of the COVID-19 protocol. But Ian, it should be a lot of fun. This game obviously being produced by NCTV, the simulcast on DAF Media, another collaborative venture between the two organizations, and that has certainly worked out well over the last couple of years.
To say the least, look, they have a rivalry on the court. We have no rivalry here. You're not going to hear any shouting
That's right.
here. And it's interesting you bring up that, these games are always going to be close between New Canaan and Darien, but these two teams almost had identical records last year. Darien went 13-9 overall, New Canaan 15-7. Both were bounced in the first round of FCX and the second round of states, and both return a lot of players, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this game plays out. The Connecticut Association, the Connecticut High School Coaches Association's Player of the Year, Al Sneddon, will set it for New Canaan. And we're off. And that one will go to New Canaan, overshot, and they will take the early 1-0 lead in the top of the first set.
A little deep there by Erin Bowman from the back row. She is a presence at the net for Darien.
Bowman, one of the two captains for Darien. Here's Sneddon. And a miscommunication. Looking for it was Juju Hahn, the junior, in the libero of this Darien team, and the defensive ace couldn't get there. So 2-0 now. Sneddon. Still in play. And again out of bounds. That one from Jillian Roach, the sophomore. Almost there.
Nice swing. Just wasn't able to catch the line there. And New Canaan gets out to a nice early 3-0 lead here over the Wave.
So here's Elle Snedden, who we'll talk about more throughout this broadcast. And she can't get it over the net. Darien gets the point. Snedden, the best setter in all of Connecticut last year. She was named the Coaches Association's Player of the Year. When she got the award, Damien, she was stunned. She didn't even know that they called her name at the ceremony, but she definitely earned it.
Well, and certainly the first time a New Canaan player has ever won that award,
yep.
Ian, as the Rams put another point on the scoreboard. So certainly a great honor for her to put on her resume. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned at the outset, Ian, this is a New Canaan program under head coach Kevin Marino that has done a nice job of rebuilding and a competitive team, not a team you want to face in the FCAC the last couple of seasons.
And Alex Gillespie, one of the key players that makes this team so great, she said it for New Canaan, number 10, the captain. Mulcahy gets it over, and Hahn can't return it. Mulcahy, just a sophomore, 6'3", and she's making her presence felt.
This is a Rams team that has come into this match fired up after, as you mentioned, losing at Darien last week in the first match of the season, 3-1.
And now it's already 5-1, a vicious hit from Darien. New Canaan able to return it. Snedden, Gravero, and out of play. Overshot there by freshman Lily Stevens for New Canaan. This roster really has talent across the board. Freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, all the grades that New Canaan represented on this team.
And that's what you want if you're Kevin Marino when you're building a program.
Mm-hmm.
You want to see those underclassmen step up in big spots and contribute.
Hahn sets it, and scrambling is New Canaan, racing with Stevens. She couldn't get there in time.
You know, the best thing, Ian, about freshmen, they become sophomores.
Yes.
and you have them for 3 more years.
And speaking of that, they actually, on this New Canaan team, they call themselves the Soft Squad. It's Snedden, Gillespie, I believe Gravero, and Lily Stevens, or Lily Gray. These 4 have been together since varsity, or since sophomore. They've become varsity players now as seniors, and they've really become the 4 linchpins of this team. And you can see in the record they had last year, making a 7-game turnaround from 8 wins to 15 wins last year. Here's Hahn to set it. New Canaan leads 5-4 in the first set. Stevens gets it over. And that one, a strong shot from Darien's Aaron Bowman, the junior captain. Gravero couldn't return it for New Canaan.
Bowman's been on this team since her freshman season at Darien. The tallest player on the court, number 9, as I mentioned moments ago, a presence at the net, and she gets one in her wheelhouse, puts a nice swing on it.
New Canaan was up 5-1. Now it's tied at 5-5 in the first set. Here is Bowman at the net, and the point will go to Darien as it just got over.
Bowman just stays out of the net, precariously close. That would have been a point to New Canaan. Instead, it goes the Blue Waves' way.
So Juju Hahn again, the libero for Darien. Stevens right to Hahn and out of play off the mitts of Hahn. New Canaan ties it up at 6-6 as Annie Gong as well as Lily Gray, the senior, will check in for New Canaan.
And you can tell that Stevens is going to be a force in the years to come here.
Definitely.
For Kevin Marino. Outside hitter, just a freshman. That was a tremendous kill on the far side of the court for Stevens.
The only freshman on this team, and we know why, because she's making her impact felt. Here's Annie Gong, the senior, and New Canaan dominates that one. They'll take the 7-6 lead off Gong's first set for New Canaan.
That was Lily Gray at the net, Ian.
And Lily Gray, a great player for this team last year as well. Middle blocker, a threat at the net, as you just referenced. For Stevens, she had 146 kills last year for New Canaan. Gray, that is. Mulcahy puts it up. Sneddon puts it over. Darien can't return it. And New Canaan refining its momentum.
Bowman there says to the bench, the Darien bench, that's my bad. Kind of stuck in no man's land there at the net. Didn't quite know what to do with the ball. And it's a 2-point advantage for the Rams.
So Gong to serve. Bowman puts it up. Hahn. Bowman. He can't get it over. An uncharacteristic miss from the star junior. And New Canaan up 9-6 here. And Stevens, the only freshman on this New Canaan team. But here's Gong, the senior. Hahn puts it up. Backhanded by Bowman. And met at the net in a strong hit from Lily Gray.
Lily Gray adding to that kill total.
Yes.
Ian goes through the block that time and is able to put it down on the other side of the net as we've got a break in the action right here. The one big difference on the court this season are the masks. Of course,
yes.
The CIAC, the governing body for high school athletics in the state of Connecticut, making it mandatory that the players wear masks.
And that was the only way they were going to get their season.
That's right, during play. And I actually talked to Kevin Marino about that, and he said, it hasn't really been a big deal at all. The players have been fine with it. He goes, the most important thing is we're getting a chance to play.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Alex Gillespie said, the senior captain, in an article written, said, wearing masks is a small price to pay if it means we get to play. Mm-hmm. That's a 10 out of 10 quote, too.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because the NCHS said that it was a medium-risk sport, but Connecticut said it was a high-risk sport, and that's why they required it to play masks. But regardless, they get to play. Gong with the serve and out of play as Shui will check out.
What's interesting about this is that there was a time, and the back and forth with all these sports, especially football and volleyball.
Yeah.
Obviously, volleyball played indoors. That's a big reason why I guess it would be considered a higher risk sport. You remember there was a time where there was some thought, well, maybe we could take girls volleyball outside this fall, so we'd almost have like a beach volleyball situation.
And I remember the Twitterverse went nuts. Yeah. It's like, where are the outdoor courts going to come from?
Exactly. So this obviously is
a better solution.
And the players seem to be handling it very well.
So here is the Rams' second setter, Kat Raw, on the serve, the junior. Hahn puts it up. Darien over thanks to Leilani Gillespie. Stevens met at the net, and New Canaan can't return it.
That was a great block by Darien as Aaron Bowman in there with Jillian Vaught.
And she'll go back to serve. Bowman, that is, as Darien trails 11-8 in the first set. And that one off the hands of Stevens, the freshman.
You mentioned New Canaan's team at the outset of the broadcast, Ian. Young players, upperclassmen as well. This is a Darien team with only 3 seniors on the team, a relatively young team as head coach Lori LaRusso, who's been at it for a long time, one of the great, not only coaches, volleyball coaches in the state of Connecticut, but in the entire country, has amassed so many wins, especially in the girls' game.
She won the National Coaches Association Volleyball Coach of the Year in 2017. That was her second time winning the award. She's in numerous Hall of Fame. She's the boys' coach as well. So even with a lack of an experience, as we got a lot of activity here, Hahn can't get there in time. New Canaan gets the point. Great back and forth at the net. But LaRusso, she's been at it for so long. This is probably not the biggest challenge she's faced in her 38-year coaching career here in Darien.
No, I mean, there was a period of time where they owned the FCAC. They owned it. And she has built a juggernaut. They've struggled in recent seasons in terms of their standards, but she has them always competitive and in the mix.
Sinatra, who had 5 kills last week, is going to get it here as Darien can't get there.
And a great effort that time by Aaron Bowman. Just couldn't get to it. Was able to get there, just couldn't get enough on the ball.
And for LaRusso here at Darien, 23 FCAC championships, 17 state championships, and in her tenure, Darien's girls team has finished as the #1 team in the state 9 times. She's also coached the boys team for 13 seasons since 2006, and ever since then, she's won 4 FCAC titles and another 3 state championships. New Canaan up 13-11. Darien to serve. It will be number 16, another freshman, Ayla Shank, who sends it over. Snedden, good play. And that will be a net violation on Darien's number 14, Kelly Hathaway, the sophomore. Got the ball and the net. So 14-11 here. First team to 25 wins each set. So after that, we'll have a victor of the first set. Gravero puts it over. The defensive ace for New Canaan. Stevens returns, puts it up on the dig. And Sinatra denied by Kevin Duffy, the talented senior for Darien.
Duffy and Leilani Gillespie, the sophomore, at the net.
That's a dangerous 1-2 combo if Darien wants to pull out a second straight win to start this season.
No question. This is a great first set, Ian.
Yeah, you have the feel as that serve a bit low from Leilani Gillespie. But you have the feel, Damien, this is going to be closer than a 3-1 game. I mean,
it's certainly the way it's going in the early stages. You know, volleyball is so much, as many sports are, but volleyball is so much about momentum, right? A server can get hot.
So Snedden gets it right off the net. That one well overshot. And Elle Snedden making a solid serve there for New Canaan. She had 522 assists, 212 digs, 73 kills, 67 aces, en route to being named New Canaan's first and only Coaches Association, CT Coaches Association Player of the Year last year. And they get her back for one more season.
And both of these teams, as you mentioned earlier, making it to the second round of the state playoffs. Actually, you mentioned, you and I talked off camera before the off air before the match began, as we were going over our notes. These are 2 programs that made it to the second round of the state tournament last year.
Yep, New Canaan finished second in the FCAC East Division, Darien third. Now they're both in the West region, as they like to call it, for these COVID times, trying to limit travel.
The pod, if you will, the
pod.
bubble.
There's many different
names that it has. The pod, the bubble.
And it's a strong one. It's a strong bubble that they have. You got Greenwich, Darien, New Canaan, West Hill. Greenwich and West Hill have been 2 of the best girls volleyball programs in Connecticut for quite some time. Always title contenders in FCACs and in states.
And Trumbull winning its first ever state championship last season.
And New Canaan now is the team New Canaan fell to in FCACs. And New Canaan actually beat them during the regular season last year, which shows you the potential of this team for New Canaan.
So in a roundabout way, New Canaan has a piece of that state title?
Yes. You heard it here first.
No, it is interesting how this sport works sometimes. And Trumbull with a big season last season, winning its first ever state championship in girls volleyball.
You know, Elle Snedden, after winning, and another point for New Canaan there, and a great one. Snedden, after winning the Player of the Year, said she was so grateful to be come back for another year and to hang the banners like New Canaan has never done before. That's the goal. They have all the senior talent. They have a lot of young players as well, and they love her here. They call her Tom Brady because she watches 5 hours of film a day. And she's put in the work, obviously, and so has this whole team. So it's 18-14 in the first set. New Canaan with the lead. Bowman with the spike, and Darien with the point.
Wow, 2 great kills in the last 2 series, right? You started talking about Snedden, but Lily Stevens, the freshman, with a great hit off the block out of bounds on the far side of the court. And then here on the near side of the court, Erin Bowman shows what she's all about with a big swing and puts it straight down. Kaboom.
So Darien will serve, down 3 in the first set. Gillespie couldn't find anyone off her dig. Snedden dived for it to no prevail, number 2, El Snedden. And the 1-2 punch of Gillespie and Snedden is going to lead this team this year. We've already talked about Snedden's numbers, but Gillespie, a terrific season last year in her own right with 126 kills, 283 digs as an outside hitter. Snedden pops it up. Stevens denied. Gravero, great save, and perfectly placed from Snedden.
Great dink by Snedden, and that's what she is capable of doing. Just, you mentioned she watches a lot of film, saw a hole, a gap in the Darien defense, and exposes it with that little dink over the net.
I mean, you don't have to be the biggest player to be a setter. It's an IQ position. You have to be able to lead, and Coach Marino in interviews has said she's a leader. She's just herself when she's out there. She's vocal, and she makes plays like that.
You're the quarterback of the team.
Exactly. Kat Roth sets it for New Canaan in Alex Gravero could not. Alex Gillespie could not handle that one.
Leilani Gillespie with a big hit.
Gillespie on Gillespie action.
Gillespie on Gillespie, yeah.
Overshot there from Bowman on the serve, and Darien got a good point, but New Canaan's going to get it right back here, up 2017.
You get the sense that we could see a long match today.
If you like volleyball, stay tuned.
Dare I say a 5-setter. We'll see how this unfolds.
Hahn puts it up. Darien spikes it down. It is Jillian Roach, the sophomore, who puts it perfectly where it needs to be. 20-18 is your score right now.
Jillian, an impressive player for Darien. As you mentioned, Ian, just a sophomore.
So Darien will serve. And no one, a great play from New Canaan. They let it go out of bounds off the left side, just off the line. Off a serve, I believe, from Ayla Schneck, number 16, who will check out, as well as number 17, Jillian Vaught for Darien, both out of the game.
Yeah, Ayla Schenk did serve that.
Annie Gravero, the libero of this New Canaan team, the team's best defensive player. Obviously, that's why she plays a position. Tapped at the net, back and forth. Palmed by Sinatra, but none of her teammates got there. Stevens slipped, and Sinatra was all alone. 21-19, New Canaan still in the lead.
Darien trying to rally here late first set.
Snedden pops it up. Sinatra puts it over. Here comes Snedden. Snedden again, sets it. Sinatra goes for it all. And Hahn gets it for Darien. Bowman, perfect. Off the hand of Kat Roth.
That's something that she's certainly capable of doing out of the back row with the kill. And right now we've got an interesting first set as Darien has climbed to within 1.
They were down 5-1 to start, and it's been back and forth ever since. 21-20 right now. New Canaan with the slimmest of leads. Sinatra powerful, but not in play. So we have a tie game right now, 21-21, and a timeout is called by Coach Kevin Marino, the fourth-year coach of this New Canaan squad.
Boy, the ebbs and flows in this first set. So exciting, so entertaining as we have a break in the action here.
And New Canaan is really led by, we're going to need this break. We're going to talk it over with Coach Marino and the captains that really do lead this team. This was Coach Marino on the three people we trust most, the captains on this team. Alex, Annie, and Elle Sneddon embody everything that we strive to be as a program. They work hard, they're respectful, they're super competitive. Their energy and their leadership is rubbed off on everybody else. They've been amazing captains so far, and obviously having to adjust to far more than we have in the past this season. I'm just so proud of them.
Yeah, and there's no question. I mean, listen, captains on any team really have to step up. They have to keep a positive outlook. It's these student athletes have been, it's been a yo-yo of emotions.
They've been
for
through
them.
the ringer.
They have been through a lot over the last several weeks, not knowing if there's going to be a season, what kind of season. Back and forth. They're not going to play. They are going to play. So it's up to the captains. That's why they're captains, to instill positive attitudes in the rest of the team as Darien gets another point off its serve.
That's Leilani Gillespie, who couldn't land that one where it needed to be, the sophomore for Darien. Mulcahy will check in for New Canaan. Checking out is junior Kat Roth in the front row. Sneddon to serve. Hahn. And off the net. And a Darien point. Another excellent play from Erin Bowman, who's been the clear star of this Darien team so far.
As I mentioned, she's played since her freshman season. And Erin Bowman, the tallest player out on the floor. And that's one thing, Ian, that you just can't teach is size.
No.
And Bowman has it. Perfect middle hitter. She can play on the outside.
Jillian Roach served for Darien. Mulcahy pops it up, and a mental error there as that was the third hit. And the sophomore did not put it over the net and didn't acknowledge that. That was the third hit.
And that'll happen as this first set tightens up a little bit. A little bit more pressure.
Mulcahy pops it up. Sneddon back to Mulcahy. Excellent touch, but a great recovery from Darien. Gravero with the dig. The spike out of play from New Canaan's number 16 sophomore, Diane Wallace.
So impressed with Sneddon, though. Her sets are right there for the hitters. And Kevin Marino is going to call another timeout here as he feels like this one senses this first set kind of slipping away.
They've had the lead, New Canaan, that is, for most, if not all of the set, and now they see themselves down 24-22. Darien just 1 point away from winning set one and definitely getting some much-needed momentum. What would it mean if the Blue Wave escape with the win in its first set?
Well, we talked about how close we thought this match could potentially be, maybe even a five-setter. I mean, you're talking about a Darien team that looked like it was going to lose this first set. They rallied late, and if they can win it, that gives them all kinds of positive thoughts and energy and momentum moving forward into the second set.
You're never out of a game when you're coached by Lori LaRusso. Can her team win the first set here? Sneddon pops it up. Wallace put it over. Hahn, Bowman, Gravero, Sneddon. Bowman with the touch, Sneddon with the save. And Mulcahy can't put it over. Darien will win this first set. 25-22, as close gets. And we'll see a break in the action here with the 25-22 set going to Darien. We want to take this moment, I should say, to thank our sponsors for this 2020-2021 season. This game is sponsored by our platinum sponsor, Walter Stewart's Market. Walter Stewart's has supported NC Rams athletics in the entire New Canaan community for years. Walter Stewart's is your fresh market. We also want to thank our Silver Rams, the Educational Futures OSSM, Performance PT, Rand Insurance, Renaissance Partners, and want to thank also 84 Sports, the Athletic Shoe Factory, Dr. Feeney Orthodontics, and many more who have helped us out here at NCTV and help us get to where we want to be. Damien, what are your biggest takeaways from the first set?
Well, obviously, New Canaan came ready to play in this match.
Yep.
They lost the first match between these two teams last week in Darien, and they came out strong, got out to an early lead. Darien came back, and then New Canaan was able to pull ahead, and it looked like for a moment there that they were going to take the first set. And Darien just kind of climbed back in it, was able to knock some points off and get back into this game, and they end up pulling out the first set. So a huge momentum shift from the early part of the first set to the late in the first set, and right now Darien is up 1-0 as we head into the second set.
Still got a minute 15 roughly until we get you to the start of that second set. So we know what went right for Darien, but what went wrong for New Canaan in your mind at the second half of the first set?
Well, I think you touched on it. Some costly mental mistakes late by the Rams, a couple of their younger players. That happens. This is a competitive match. Things were tightening up. So, I think some, as you'd say in tennis, some unforced errors by New Canaan, and that allowed Darien to get back into it, and the Wave getting some big points from Aaron Bowman, as you mentioned.
And it's very interesting because usually you see a much more heated rivalry between a New Canaan and Darien team, but we talked about it before the game. Coach Marino and Coach LaRusso are great friends. This was Marino's quote: "It's always fun to play Darien. I have so much respect for Coach Lori LaRusso. I love competing against her. She's the GOAT, and the coolest thing is she won't let you know that."
That's all kinds of respect there. From Kevin Marino. She is the GOAT, and if you look at the record books and the history books in high school athletics, there's a reason why she's won National Coach of the Year in the past. I mean, she's had some outstanding programs. Her players absolutely like her, or love her, I should say, and she is so humble and doesn't take any of the credit, and she's built a juggernaut.
And that's leading by example.
Yep.
So here we are, start of the second set. Ian Nicholas joined by Damian Andrew in this simulcast between NCTV 78 and DAF Media. Thank you so much for joining us here in this game that will hopefully, and it looks like it will, go down to the wire between the 0-1 New Canaan Rams and the 1-0 Darien Blue Wave. Darien winning the first set, coming from behind 25-22, and we will have the Blue Waves' Jillian Roach, the sophomore, to serve. Gravero, Roth, Sinatra popped up. Here's Bowman, and there's no stopping that.
She got it right in her wheelhouse, and then it's really much game over at that point. She is impressive. I'll tell you what, though, as we were recapping and talking about that first set, Stevens, the freshman from New Canaan, I mean, you talk about a bright future. She is really a tremendous player as a freshman.
Yep, the only freshman, as I mentioned, on his varsity squad, his 14-member team. Snedden with excellent finesse, and she's amped, as should be, as she met, I believe, Bowman right at the net.
It was Bowman at the net, and she was outmatched, but she, as you mentioned earlier, using that volleyball IQ of her, she's able to finesse it off of Bowman.
And speaking of Snedden, she'll serve to perfection, threading the needle. And New Canaan will take the 2-1 lead.
And you know what's great about Snedden? You mentioned the play of the captains for New Canaan, and some of the you read a great quote by Kevin Marino about his captains. Snedden, one of those captains, so excited, so excitable after she served that point. And just fired up, gets her teammates fired up, and so much of this sport is energy, as we mentioned, and momentum.
Yep. So this was the another quote from him. Elle's personality is very strong. She has no problem communicating. She has no problem making sure that people are doing the right thing. She's just being herself out there. She is right now. The team's up 4-1 in the start of the second set. She has no issues with doing things the way she does them.
Yeah. And again, you know, another great start to the set by New Canaan.
But they have to finish.
And they have to finish. And this was the same thing that happened in the first set. They came out strong. Let's see if they can keep this momentum up.
They took a 5-1 lead in the first set. They will take a 5-1 lead in the second set. But will they pull it off? The lowerclassmen have come in from the new Canaan program to cheer their friends on, so we'll have a little bit more of a boost from the crowd. Snedden with the serve. It's over the net, and Darien can't respond.
And right now, L. Snedden is putting on a clinic.
Speaking of, they need a timeout. Darien needs a timeout. Well said, Damian. Good timing there.
Yeah, head coach LaRusso wants a timeout. It's 6-1 New Canaan. She wants to calm her team down, and now they have to try to climb back into it again. Certainly Darien with the advantage here early in the second set, up a set, right? Even though they're down 6-1 in this second set, they are up a set, but not making it easy for themselves as they get in a hole early once again in the second straight set.
And Al Snedden is on fire this time around, so that is going to be a whole new problem in itself. But don't get it twisted. This new Canaan team is much more than Al Snedden. We've already mentioned some of the great players. Annie Gravero, one of the senior captains, she's done great tonight as the libero for New Canaan. 340 digs for her last year. Lily Gray, the senior, we already mentioned her stats as a middle blocker and a threat of the net. And then a bit of a quiet night so far for Alex Gillespie, but a terrific outside hitter. She, alongside Snedden, were the two FCX selections on this team last year. Snedden with the serve. Mulcahy. And Snedden saves it. Gravero puts it over, saving it. Met by Mulcahy is Bowman. Bowman again. And Darien in trouble. That's going to be an extra hit. They can't do that.
You know, again, your captain, Snedden, great dig off the Bowman hit, able to keep it alive. That extended the point, and now New Canaan has a 7-1 lead.
Looking to make it 8-1. Will Darien return it? Yes. Stevens set by Snedden. Mulcahy got it over. And Mulcahy can't get there. The point will go to Darien.
Duffy, the senior number 10, she'll come out of the game, more the match, I should say, but a great point at the net to kind of stall the New Canaan momentum as Darien now will serve.
Junior Juju Hahn will serve it down 7-2, as you mentioned. Mulcahy with force right to Hahn. Here's Bowman. Mulcahy. And a miss hit from Stevens, a young freshman. And it will go to Darien as they're starting to claw back with 2 unanswered points. 7-3.
Dare we say similar to the first set?
We'll see. Plenty of set left. Mulcahy misfires, though, and has another one of your mental errors, a mistiming there from the sophomore.
Yeah, that was just a straight-up mishit, as you said perfectly. And as a result, another point for Darien.
So 7-4. Set from Hahn. Stevens, Snedden, Mulcahy. They love getting it to her. Darien's hit out of bounds off of Leilani Gillespie. Just a little bit too much force there from number 15. And New Canaan will get it back with an 8-4 lead. Yeah. And set to serve, is Alex Gillespie.
Leilani Gillespie looking over at her head coach, Coach LaRusso, and Coach trying to tell her what she did wrong and show her what she did wrong. Always coaching.
Met at the net by by Wallace. Diane Wallace, number 16. And just a misclick. Darien gets it right back. An 8-5 game. And Rachel Herget, one of the 2 captains on this Darien team, number 6 to serve. Gravero misses. An uncharacteristic miss from this team's best defensive player. Just right to the left of her. On an excellent serve from Herget. We haven't heard her name much tonight, but she's one of the just 3 seniors on his team and one of the team's 2 captains. 8-6 game in the second set. And in a rare misfire from Sneddon, she jumped the gun over Mulcahy, and neither of them got there.
Darien now.
Yep.
Climbing back into this one.
8-7 in the second set. Gravero dives, and nobody there to return it for New Canaan. Bowman doing her thing.
And at that point, Sneddon was at the net facing Bowman, but Bowman had it right there, and there was really nothing Sneddon could do. As outstanding of a player
game
as she
over.
is, it was game over, and she knew it.
Sneddon can't do everything now. She can't teleport. So it's 8-8 in the second set. Darien won the first. Mulcahy gets it over. Bowman with the kill shot, and it did not hit the net. She did not hit the net, I should say.
Big swing that time by Erin Bowman. She has impressed me. Have not seen her since last season. She has definitely gotten better.
Taking the leap.
Yep. In the offseason, I'm sure played a lot of volleyball, kept her skills sharp, and it has paid off because she has been a presence on the floor tonight.
Stevens. Sneddon. Stevens shot. Met at the net. Bowman again. This time some defense. Stevens met. Wallace gets it over. Bowman.
And
on the back line.
And that catches the line.
Yep.
I think at first, for a split second, New Canaan thought they had won the point, but that was clearly in, even from our vantage point.
Yeah, I love the sport of volleyball because the ref can't make it clear enough who the point is.
Exactly.
So it's 10-8. Darien with the lead in the second set. New Canaan looking to stay in the game. Mulcahy met, and Sneddon nearly collides with the ref. She is always going to lay it on the line. Coach Marino is going to call a timeout. Down 11-8 here in the second set. Damien, they need to regroup. New Canaan, that is. They've had 2 hot starts, but it's almost like we know what's going to happen. And Darien is going to find some way. Coach LaRusso and her crew are going to find some way to get back in it.
Yeah, well said. I mean, it's the starts have really been all for naught. As Darien has been able to climb back in, as we are high above our perch here, above the court, and certainly want to thank Roman Cebulski and the entire NCTV crew as we have an opportunity to work again, NCTV, DAF Media. It's been a nice collaborative effort over the last couple of years on a number of productions, including the Turkey Bowls.
I mean, we want to thank you for your cooperation. I mean, the Turkey Bowls have been some of our biggest work, but we're going to continue to cover New Canaan games. You're going to continue to cover Darien games. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at NCTV78 for more and more on our schedule. And, hey, you're already watching on YouTube. Why don't you like and subscribe, and then you'll really know what's happening in New Canaan. Speaking of what's happening in New Canaan, they're looking to come back here. They just get the point off a timeout.
Ian, how impressed are you with Stevens? I mean, she's only a freshman. She's playing like a senior out there, coming on the outside. I mean, she gets that ball set in her wheelhouse. It is game, set, match.
And this is New Canaan Darien. You have to play your best players, and obviously she's making some of the biggest plays. I agree with you. Oh, a rare misfire from Bowman. She is gone for the slam dunk every time, and it's worked most of this evening, but a little low there. New Canaan, 2 unanswered points. Still down 11-10 here in the second set, and Gong, Annie Gong, that is, to serve. Bowman.
Off of 1 foot, kaboom.
There's not much more you can say.
Not much more you can say. She was able to get that ball right where she likes it. That's what I said. If she gets it in her wheelhouse, she's pretty dangerous.
And that's the one player really New Canaan needs to stop right now. And now she's serving, but that's the one player New Canaan needs to stop if they want to win this one.
And she comes up with a big ace there.
Right in the face of Gillespie for New Canaan. And kind of stuck in no man's land.
Yep.
Here's Bowman again. Darien up 13-10, and this time Gravero and Cruz smartly let it fly by. So now 13-11. Mulcahy will check out, and the second server on this team, who Coach Marino has high praise for, Kat Roth, checks in.
Yeah, he's expecting big things from her this season, expecting her to take a step up.
Yep. The second setter, I meant to say, not server, behind Sneddon. And an absolute spike from New Canaan's Lily Gray. One of their best players at the net shows up, and the senior making a play when they need it. They still trail one here in the second set, but momentum starting to shift after the Coach Marino timeout. Roth. Bowman keeps it alive. Here's Vaughn, met by Sneddon at the net. Stevens, the star, puts it over. And New Canaan keeping it alive. Sneddon calmly getting it over, and Darien can't get there. Smooth play from El Sneddon, and it's tied up here at 13 apiece in the second set. Kat Roth still serving.
This is very reminiscent of the first set.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it plays out the rest of the way.
Annie Gravero hits the deck, and so does Sneddon, and neither of them can get it over the net for New Canaan. An excellent effort from the two senior captains defensively.
Roach with a big swing there, the sophomore, number 7.
For the first time tonight, Juju Hahn checks out for Darien, and not enough hits to go around there for New Canaan. They were below the net and couldn't get it up.
Juju Hahn has been a player we've talked a lot about tonight. She's played well for Darien, has been a catalyst for the Blue Wave.
Darien now up 15-13. Sneddon puts it over. The ball does her some justice. It spins around on the top of the net and falls on Darien's side.
Little tightrope walk by that volleyball as it just hung up there. Had some serious spin on it, as you had said.
So here is Lily Stevens, the freshman, to serve it. That one smartly not played by New Canaan. Out of play from Leilani Gillespie, the star sophomore of this team. She's had a few miscues tonight for Darien, and now knotted up back again at 15. As back and forth as it gets. Hahn right back in the action. Darien gets it over. Sinatra, beautiful kill. Christina Sinatra, I believe, with her second kill of the afternoon.
She had 5 kills last week at the outside hitter position. Great last name, by the way, if you like.
Yes. Used to play with her brother Joey in youth football, and a baseball player here in the program as well. Great family. Back and forth battle. No relation to the Sinatras, I believe. Sneddon, yes, off the back line. The greatness of El Sneddon on display tonight.
She did it her way.
She did it.
Damien. No doubt. No doubt.
Well, that's what the coach said. That's what Coach Marino said. She does it her way. Oh, wow. That was definitely planned. So Stevens, New Canaan with the 17-15 lead. Hahn returns it. And a beautiful hit from, I believe, number 15, Leilani Gillespie.
That was Gillespie, and she
Leilani, excuse me.
All she did right there, Ian, was find a open piece of real estate and was able to put it in there.
And that one not in the open piece of real estate. That one well out of play. So New Canaan's going to get it right back. 18-16 lead in this second set in this girls volleyball game between New Canaan and Darien. Darien beat New Canaan last week in these team season openers. New Canaan looking to return the favor with a win. They're down 1-0. And that one's still in play. Somehow, Sneddon calmly puts it over. Gravero shot it to the moon and it came down. There's Gravero again. Sneddon. Excellent. Wow.
What a great play Sneddon makes there. I mean, she's a setter, but she is so skilled as a volleyball player, and she just angled that ball.
I don't know how she did it.
It almost just trickled across the net, spun down on the Darien side of the net. Point New Canaan.
It's almost like she karate chopped it in the spin.
She put some serious spin on that. And as a result, the the Rams up by 3. And again, very similar to the first set. I mean, the first 2 sets here are almost identical. We'll see again how the remainder of this plays out, but so far, I mean, this is and dare I say, this is around the point in the first set where Darien made its move and was able to rally late. So we'll see if New Canaan can hold them off.
It's funny, you look at the energy, you would almost feel like New Canaan's the team who won the first set. They're the team that has all the energy coming off a timeout, and Darien as serious as ever. You cover more girls volleyball games in Darien than I do, but is that their usual MO?
Yeah, I mean, this is again, it's all about momentum, right? So, I mean, every match is a new match, and you never really know how it's going to totally play out. I think every team likes to start as strong as they possibly can. I mean, it's much better to have the advantage than to have to play catch-up and play from behind.
Jillian Roach with the kill for Darien, number 7, the sophomore who will go back to set it now. Just what the Blue Wave needed coming off that timeout from them. Here she goes on the set. Roth, Sinatra misfires. She ran right into it and into the net. The outside hitter for New Canaan. 19-18 in the second set. Darien looking to go up 2-0. Stevens. Here's Sneddon with power. Tahan. Bowman. Sinatra again can't meet the top of the net, and she's frustrated. You can even tell that through the mask.
Yeah, I mean, that was frustration. She just wasn't able to do what she wanted with that set. And as a result, Darien now has tied it up, and they are right back in this match and in this second set.
Sinatra will check out. Gillespie will check in. Roach still serving. Stevens returns it. Gravero. Sneddon calls everyone off and gets it over. Bowman, bye-bye. She pins it in that far left corner. And Darien will take the lead, just like they did in the first set.
Can you imagine if Sneddon and Bowman were on the same team? I mean, you talk about
good night, Connecticut.
A lethal combination.
But also great to see these two square off as well on opposite sides. Roth puts it up for Gillespie. Darien looking to make something happen. And off the hands of Stevens, the freshman.
And that was Leilana Gillespie
great
from
kill
the back
there.
row. Yeah.
Now a 2-point lead. El Sneddon trying to keep the energy up for New Canaan as they call a timeout from Coach Kevin Marino. They were up. They've been outscored 5-0. 5 unanswered points from Darien, what I meant to say.
Marino was he played, I should say, at Marino was a player at his alma mater, Joel Barlow.
Yep.
And we were talking, he and I, before the match, and I thought he had played in college.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. He hadn't played in college. He didn't play in college, and but he's been around the game for so long. I mean, really started coaching after he got out of high school, and is not only the head coach of the New Canaan girls volleyball program here, he is also the head coach of the Joel Barlow boys volleyball program. So double duty for Coach Marino, as he is the coach at his alma mater.
The boys head coach here at New Canaan High School, Amy Warren. Terrific person, great coach, former gym teacher of mine. Always helping out at the basketball games. But this is volleyball, not basketball.
And Coach Warren has done a terrific job with the boys program here at New Canaan. Has really got the Rams playing well. And a couple of years ago had a great season.
Mm-hmm. So New Canaan down 21-20 in the second set. Sneddon serves, and a rare mistake from number 2, Al Sneddon, as it's out of play, and Darien takes the point. They're 3 points away from going up 2-0 in this game and winning the second set. Here's junior Juju Han, number 13, the libero of this Darien team, to serve. Gillespie, Sneddon, Mulcahy, another mental error from her. She is a player that the Rams are putting a lot of trust in tonight. And from that far side of the court, she's had her fair share of struggles. Hahn, Gillespie, Sneddon. This time it's Roth. And Bowman again. Stevens can't find it.
Goes cross court that time and puts it down. A great swing by Bowman on the outside once again. So effective there, and does a nice job in the middle as well. But she has been the player of the match thus far for Darien.
Sneddon's going to almost run into the scorer's table. Luckily, she doesn't put her team managers at risk. But what is at risk is New Canaan's chances in this game. They're down 20. They're down 25-20. They just went down 25-20 in the second set. 2 awesome sets, Damian, back and forth. But it's been the same story. Darien has found the way to finish both times. Now they're up 2-0.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about at the end of at the conclusion of the first set, what was the difference? And really, we talked about some of the unforced errors, if you will, by New Canaan. I think in the second set, we saw a little bit of that from New Canaan, but both teams played well. I think Darien just upped its game late in the second set. As we are live here at New Canaan High School in a relatively quiet gym, but that is the time and the climate that we're living in right now with this pandemic as we adjust to this new normal. And I think the student athletes here in southwestern Connecticut, whether they be in New Canaan, Darien, Greenwich, wherever, have done a nice job adjusting to this new norm.
Yep, you've seen really no complaints from them. I mean, it's obviously a different setting. And we were covering a football game. That's a completely different sport now, but only parents allowed at the games, and they're loud fans. They're louder than most, but it's still a different setting, and it's still going to be awkward this season. But they're treating it, to their credit, like it is a legitimate normal season, and they're definitely giving it their all, even without that normal high school atmosphere.
Well, I talked to a number of student athletes in Darien before the season began, and, again, we touched on this a little earlier in the broadcast. They just wanted a season.
Period.
And a period, end of story, and that's what they've gotten. I mean, is it exactly like the full-strength FCAC schedule? No. But, I mean, New Canaan gets to play Darien, gets to play Greenwich, 2 of its biggest rivals, gets to play a couple of the Stanford schools, and so you've got like a quarter of the normal FCX schedule, and you're playing home and homes, and in some cases, Darien will play New Canaan 3 times in certain sports. So I think it's the best case scenario, right? In terms of what we've been dealing with in high school athletics for the last several months. And here we are. You said it best in the football game the other day. It is just great to be out here calling a game and to see high school student athletes do their thing on the court, on the field, wherever it may be, in the pool. So, yeah. Well
said, Damien. Really can't add a ton new that. You mentioned the pod that New Canaan's in. the Western pod really is, I'll be biased. I think the best pod, really, regardless of sport. You have New Canaan, who's got strong teams across the board. Darien, Greenwich, Stamford, Wright Tech from Stamford also joins the pod this year on an interim basis. This is, if you like competition, I mentioned the quote earlier, but I'll give the full one here. This is what Alex Gillespie, one of the Rams senior captains, said about the pod. It's worked out so well that we get to play a lot of teams we faced in years past and maybe struggle to compete with. There's a lot that we're really excited about, and part of that is the fact that these teams are so good, and we like to think that we can hold our own with them. And they certainly have with Darien tonight, but they're down 2-0, and will they be able to claw back is the question. They need to win this set to avoid a loss. Here's the star Al Snedden to get it kicked off, or set off, I should say. And a whistle's blown, a violation on Darien of some sort, and New Canaan will take the 1-0 lead.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
New Canaan rather scores the first point of this third set.
And again, oh gosh, I don't want to get my hopes up, because now they're up 2-0. Snedden with another great serve. New Canaan went up 5-1 at the first set, lost 25-22. They went up 7-1 in the second set, lost 25-20. They're only up 2-0 now. Let's see how it goes.
You can tell why she was the Connecticut High School Coaches Association Player of the Year last year. No doubt, she does it all.
She just
terrific player.
All of her teammates were standing, and then she just looked down at the players on the bench and said, "Sit down."
Yeah.
She just got that command. What a dive from Stevens. Gravero keeps it alive. Snedden right on cue, Damien. She keeps it in play. And this one's still alive. Here's Gillespie. Good hit. Gillespie again. Gravero with the save, and New Canaan scrambles. Mulcahy can't get there in time. But what a great back and forth there.
It is funny. That her nickname is Tom Brady. She's a winner just like Brady, a competitor, and as you mentioned earlier, she looks at a lot of tape.
An overfire there from Hahn. Here's the exact quote, because I wish I was making it up, but I'm not. This is what Marino said about the nickname. "We call Elle Tom Brady because she watches 5 hours of film each week, and she's always ready to go every single day. She's always asking questions about how she can get better. It's like nothing I've seen out of a high school athlete before."
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's how you get to the next level, and that's how you raise your game, and that's how you become a state player of the year, Coaches Association state player of the year.
Caven Duffy, the senior, checks out for Darien, number 10. Hahn the serve. It's a 3-2 New Canaan lead in the third set. Met at the net. Roth was denied. And
Bowman there again.
Yeah, she's everywhere. It's 3-3. She makes it look easy. Number 9 for Darien has been the clear star of this one. Gravero looking to put it over. She does. Bowman again. Mulcahy met her there, and Bowman won.
Rachel,
and she'll get another kill. So
we've talked so much about Snedden. Rachel Herget, the senior for Darien, number 6, with a nice set there, one of the captains. And, of course, she comes from a long line of Herget student athletes at Darien High School.
I remember her brother Tyler, I believe, was on the football team at Darien. New Canaan gets some much-needed momentum at that last point.
Yeah, great catch on your part. The Herget's great football players, great volleyball players, Interesting combination. Boys volleyball in the spring.
Oh.
And, of course, in these two communities, New Canaan and Darien, lacrosse is such a big part of the spring sports season.
It was a shame we didn't get to see that this year.
Did not,
but hopefully 2021 will bring us a spring season with these two teams featured in it. Here's Annie Gong, who checks in to serve. Diane Wallace out for New Canaan. And in and out of the hands. Will it get over? No. Bowman trying to do some cleanup work. A bit of a misfire from Darien. Jillian Roach set up that minor catastrophe. New Canaan 5-4 lead. And Gong to serve. Just gets it over. Han, great return.
Oh.
And then, Damien, you're awed by Lily Stevens so far.
She's just a freshman.
Yep.
I mean, the presence that she plays with out on the court, and she takes a great swing at the ball from the outside hitter position.
And she gets a big point there for New Canaan. Gong again. Han, Herget, Roach, and the net does not do her any favor. Smacked right back. And New Canaan with the momentum and the lead right here in the third set at 7-4. Sneddon giving out the calls. Gong with the serve. Herget puts it up. Bowman looking
big
to
hit.
do justice, and she does.
Another big swing by Aaron Bowman.
Annie Gravero will check in for New Canaan. Annie Gong will check out. And Diane Wallace also back in the game. Excuse me now. She just went to check out Gong. So Darien back to serve. It's Herget with a laser. New Canaan returns. No one is there. Neither Sneddon nor Mulcahy. Both dove and both missed. Darien down 1-7-6. Here's Herget again, the captain. Gravero. Gillespie can't get it over from the back row. She has had an uncharacteristic night. We usually see a lot more big plays from the senior star in all FCX selection. But she hasn't hit her stride yet. Tied up at 7-7. Stevens. Bowman time. But denied.
Great block at the net.
Bowman again, and it's blocked again. Sneddon in a beautiful shot from Gray off the assist from El Sneddon. Who else?
And that was Mulcahy who had that initial block on Bowman.
She'll check out. She has had her rough patches tonight, but a big play there.
Yep.
To keep the Rams alive. Kat Roth to serve. Number 3. New Canaan up 8-7. Here comes Bowman now from the far side, and it's again blocked. Roth pops it up. Sneddon.
Nice back set to Sneddon. Here's Bowman.
Bowman's being contained for the moment. Stevens, a back and forth ensuing. Sneddon pops it over. Knuckled by Bowman. Stevens again, and finally she gets it to go down.
Off the block and out of bounds.
Yeah.
Powerful hit by Stevens as she continues to impress here in this match against Darien.
And finally, in that point, Damien, New Canaan found answers at the net for Bowman.
Yep. Well said.
Rams now up 9-7, and speaking of Bowman, she couldn't get there. Not enough. In a bad spot. Well-placed hit from New Canaan, extending the lead to 3 in this third set. Roth still serving. Herget up to Bowman. Bowman blocked, I believe, by the net. And she is cooled off quickly. Not a surprise. Coach LaRusso calls a timeout for Darien.
Yeah, she's going to try to stop the momentum here, Coach LaRusso. 11-7. New Canaan in front here in this third set. Darien leads in the match 2-0. They won the first 2 sets.
You know, we've seen a lot of great players right now for New Canaan, not just Sneddon. You've talked about Lily Stevens a lot tonight, and Coach Marino said when he was asked about the depth of the squad heading into the season, he said, honestly, This is the deepest squad we've ever had, so I could go on and mention every player on our 14-team girl roster as impactful players. And before I toss it to you there, speaking of impact players, I want to thank the cameraman right next to me, Brendan Tiscornia, the producer, Amelie Lanoff, our advisor, Mr. Sobolski. I want to thank you, Damien, for joining us again on this broadcast.
Doing a great job. You guys do a great job with NCTV under the direction of Mr. Sobolski, who I've gotten to know, and Brendan, first time running camera, doing a solid job here in this match, Darien versus New Canaan.
Yep, and this deep New Canaan squad, Coach Marino loves them. He'd also love if they can get a win here. They need to win each of the next 3 sets if they want to do that. Roth served. Denied at the net is Gillespie. Al Snedden's fired up. Of course, it's her making the play and leading the Rams. Extending the lead to 5 off the timeout. 12-7. Roth serves. Here comes Gillespie, just over the net from Gray. And another misfire from the Blue Wave. They're starting to fall apart a bit here in the 3rd set, but we've seen plenty of comebacks from them already here tonight. So don't count them out just yet in this set.
Yeah, New Canaan now with a commanding 13-7 lead.
Herget, Bowman, denied by Stevens.
Yeah, Darien just not playing well right now.
Stevens, back row to Hahn.
Great dig by Hahn.
No one's there, and just nicking the back line, it does for Darien.
Yeah, that was clearly in from here, from our vantage point. That was Gillespie, number 15.
Yep.
Leilani, another sophomore on this Darien team.
So here's Aaron Bowman, the junior, the junior, who serves it. An excellent whack from Stevens is unreturnable.
This time on the near side of the court from the outside.
New player checking in for New Canaan, I believe, is Sarah Lockyer. Checking out is Gray, who's had a couple big plays tonight, Lily Gray. Sarah Lockyer, her first time in tonight, the senior. And right on the left line, the far line, off a serve from who else but Stevens. She's really making her presence felt here. Damien, you've talked about her all broadcast, but her and Snedden are just leading the charge right now for New Canaan.
A senior and a freshman.
Yeah. If it works, it works. 15-8 lead. She'll serve. Herget puts it up. Too much power there. A frustrated Darien team now down 16-8 on the overshoot from Jillian Roach.
Nice set that time by Herget.
Yeah. She's had a quietly good game.
Yep.
Bowman pops it up. Hahn's there with the dig. Roach gets it over. Snedden pops it up. Lockyer looking to make her first big play. Popped up, and it's a Darien point. Foul on New Canaan, I believe, of some sort. Darien gets a much-needed break. Makes it 16-9. New Canaan with the 7-point lead. And serving is Jillian Vaught, and a sophomore with the mistake on the serve. Checking right back in as Hahn. She literally gets the smallest of breaks for the Starly bro.
Yeah, this is going to be this is going to take an effort now for Darien to really get itself back in this 3rd set.
Yeah, and really, if New Canaan pulls out here, Darien somewhat lost its way. This is a completely new game. Gravero, great dig. Gillespie puts it over. Snedden.
Gosh.
And that's going to go on Snedden, as I believe she palmed it.
She lifted that. 17-10.
And she could tell, too. Points at her coach, says it's on her, and they'll move on. Still up 17-10. Here's Gillespie. And Gillespie to Gillespie.
So now a miscue there by New Canaan's Gillespie.
Yes.
Off the serve by Leilani Gillespie. And now all of a sudden it's within 6. That was a costly miscue. And then as I say that,
you jinxed him.
Gillespie serves it out of bounds.
Definitely not what the doctor ordered for Darien there.
Well, they had rattled off 2 straight points, and you thought maybe they could really turn the tide and shift the momentum.
Lindsay Mulcahy checks back in, and a mistake on the serve from El Sneddon. So wait a second. Darien's got another opportunity here.
And that is a mistake you don't see very often from the senior captain.
Gravero with the dig. Sneddon pops it up. Mulcahy over the net. Bowman.
Nice set by Herget again.
And an excellent play from Bowman. But no,
they're
it's going to
call her in the net.
Yeah.
They're going to call Bowman in the net.
And she's stunned. She did not see that coming. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, I thought she was in the net, so I'm not surprised by the call. I don't think Coach LaRusso is surprised by the call anyway. She just kind of shrugs her shoulders as Bowman looks over.
Great play by Herget to keep it alive. Bowman doing her thing. There's Stevens and no answer. Right through the hand of Cave and Duffy. And a timeout again called from Darien and Coach LaRusso. New Canaan, they're in the mood right now with a 20-12 lead.
Yeah, Coach LaRusso, when Bowman was called for being in the net there, she, when Bowman was called for going into the net, she looks over at Coach LaRusso, and the Coach LaRusso just kind of, what do you want me to tell you?
You did it.
You were in the net, so she wasn't surprised at that call. But again, a nice effort here by New Canaan after getting down 2 sets, losing the first 2 sets, to really find a way to rally. I mean, obviously the third set's not over.
No.
But they're looking good right now, up 20-12. So certainly to find the fortitude, the mental fortitude to come back in this match. They win this set. It's 2-1, and here we go.
A team with a leader like El Sneddon, who's just going to bring the energy regardless of what the score is always in a game.
Yeah.
And you can tell it right now. New Canaan's not done. Darien starting to lose its confidence and rhythm. Bowman starting to be slowed down. New Canaan leads 20-12 in the third set. But off the timeout, Darien strikes first.
And that's what you want. Coming off the timeout, you want a point.
Yeah.
You want to squash the momentum of the other team, and Darien did that.
Here's Hahn, the libero. Gillespie. Met at the net by Bowman. Was Sullivan. Wallace. I'm all over the place. Diane Wallace met at the net by Bowman. Who else for Darien? Still down 6, the Blue Wave, 20-14. Here's Stevens. And out of bounds.
That's a Darien point. So all of a sudden now, Darien creeping back into this. They've got the server they want back there in Juju Hahn.
Yep. This is Darien's opportunity to get back in his third set and potentially close it out here. Stevens pops it over, and I believe she was out of play when she hit it.
She was.
And that's why it will go to Darien. It was 20-12 off the timeout. Now it's 20-16.
She basically hit it over, but it went over the chair umpires.
Yep. Sneddon puts it up for Stevens. Blocked at the net. And not getting there in time was Bowman. She dove, and it hit the top of the net. Sarah Lockyer will check back in for New Canaan. Annie Gravero, the star libero, as well as Diane Wallace, the sophomore, will check out. Gong's been serving a lot tonight for New Canaan, making a solid effort back there. Herget, Bowman, out of play. She was really serving them up early in this game, really up until the middle of the set. For Darien, New Canaan finally has found some answers for her. 22-16, New Canaan 3 points away from making it a 2-1 Darien lead instead of 2-0. Bowman, right to Gillespie. Stevens, kill shot, off the wall. And that's not enough hits for Darien to recover.
How impressive is Stevens? I know I keep saying it, I'm a broken record, but just a freshman and has a bright future for Coach Marino here at New Canaan.
Life after Al Sneddon does not look too bad when you have that kind of promising player. In the wings, wow, I believe, no.
Yeah,
oh!
That was... No question.
A New Canaan point.
That hit off a Darien player.
And I'm pretty sure Coach LaRusso even told the chair, person in the chair, that is a New Canaan point. It touched off one of her players. Yep. It touched off of, I believe, Leilani Gillespie. New Canaan celebrated, and they were confused when they didn't get it originally. Sneddon saves it. Off the wall, Sneddon. Who else to keep it alive but her?
Nope.
And palming it was Vaughn, and that is the end of your third set. New Canaan finally in the scoreboard. It's 2-1 with a dominating third set, 25-16. Coach Marino and Coach LaRusso talk it over. They're good friends.
Yep.
And we got 3 minutes to unpack that one.
Yeah, that was a great effort, as I mentioned, when it was, I think, 20-15 New Canaan. Great effort by the Rams as they battle and get themselves right back in this match.
Yeah.
Now they've just got to try to, find a way, summon up the energy, if you will, to win this fourth set. And, hey, anything can happen.
Finally, domination from start to finish in a set for New Canaan, just what the doctor ordered there. They win 25-16. We're going to stream plenty of girls volleyball games to come this season, as well as all the athletics at New Canaan High School on New Canaan's campus. So make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCTV78. And if you're watching on YouTube, please, we would love if you liked and subscribed and supported us here. If you're watching on NCTV and if you're watching on DAF Media, do the same there as we hope to work together even more this season.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's always special, as we mentioned at the outset, when Darien and New Canaan, or New Canaan and Darien, however you want to say it.
Wherever you're from.
Yeah, that's right, get together. There's no question. I know you've certainly lived this rivalry, and I've covered it for many, many years in southwestern Connecticut, and it is always a lot of fun. I think I said that they could play charades
and it
would be fun. We were talking about that at the football game last Friday. So it's really just a great rivalry. I certainly think when you look at the broad-based athletic programs from both schools, it's really, in my opinion, the best rivalry in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I've seen some great rivalries, but Darien, New Canaan, it's just both athletic programs are so strong. Whether it's
boys,
field
girls,
hockey, lacrosse, football. The basketball program here at New Canaan has the boys basketball program just has come alive under the great head coach Danny Meltzer, winning a state championship.
They're still technically the reigning state champions.
Reigning state champs. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the the winter sports season in 2020 never finished, never came to a conclusion.
In the middle of tournament play.
We were right in the middle of conference tournaments.
Yeah.
And right in the middle of conference tournaments, about to start the state tournaments, and that's when the pandemic hit.
I remember where I was in this gym, New Canaan Bloomfield. New Canaan basketball won the game, and I was talking to another broadcaster from Fairfield about, hey, are we going to do that Fairfield-Ludlow game Wednesday? Who and I think New Canaan's got a chance? And the news breaks, and there's the protests, and then a gravity hit. And 6 months without high school sports, and here we are again, and we couldn't be happier to bring you the fall sports season here at New Canaan. So the Blue Wave beat New Canaan, as I mentioned throughout this broadcast, 3-1 in the season opener for both teams last Thursday. Darien can do the same here if they win this set. Darien won the first two sets, 25-22 and 25-20 over New Canaan. Great back and forths. But New Canaan took control in the last set, 25-16. Kat Roth pops it up. El Snedden with the laser. Bowman out of play. Looking for the home run ball. And she's been misclicking a bit since the middle of that last set. And New Canaan will take the early 1-0 lead off her mistake. Players on the floor for New Canaan, it will go to Darien after a overturn from the chair umpire. So 1-0 Darien. Here's Vaughn to serve. In a miscue between Wallace and Roth, as Gillespie put it up for them, and neither of them got there. And they are still talking it over. Darien up 2-0, a great start to their set. Gillespie's going to come up and over firing on that one. Darien now up 3-0. Players on the floor for New Canaan include Gravero, Stevens, Gillespie, Snedden, Roth, and Wallace. Roth can't get there off the dig from Stevens. Darien now up 4-0. They have not gotten off to a hot start in any of the previous three sets, Damien, but finally now they are. Here's Vaughn. Just over the net. New Canaan didn't expect that. And now 5-0 as Darien looks to close it out here, and Coach Marino calls a timeout.
Yeah, and Coach Marino wants to talk it over with his team. Obviously, that's not the early result he wanted, to give up 5 straight points, dig yourself a hole in a set that you need to have to continue and extend this match. But the way they played in that third set, and quite frankly, the way they played in all three sets, New Canaan, this match is far from over.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a 5-0 hole right now. But this team still brings the energy. Their morale is still extremely high. Still got Snedden and Stevens heart beating, so that's always a good sign for this team when those two stars are on the floor. But the one good thing for Darien is they've been able to find success even without Bowman dominating for this last set and a half, give or take. So here's Vaughn. Jillian Roach. My mistake. Number 7. Snedden comes up for it and hits the net.
Snedden, the one thing I've noticed about her throughout this entire match, she never gives up on a play.
No. Even if it's pretty obvious.
She is giving it her all every single point. She never gives up on a play.
New Canaan down 6-0. Here's Gillespie. And nobody will go there because it's out of play from Caven Duffy. From the front row, out of bounds on the near side. Roth will check out for Mulcahy. And Snedden to serve. New Canaan down 6-1 in the fourth set. Hahn puts it up. Here's Bowman. Saved by Stevens. An excellent dig, and Gillespie gets it over. Bowman taps it. Snedden to Gillespie. And the back and forth beginning. Oh, and an uncharacteristic error from Herget, who's had an excellent night. Rachel Herget, the senior captain, who's been terrific in the middle of it all for Darien. She hits the net. Now 6-2. Blue Wave still lead. Herget pops it up. Excellent cross-court hit from Alex Gillespie, who has come alive now. The Rams' second-best player, you would think, heading into the season, finally makes her first big play of tonight.
There is a small crowd inside the gymnasium here at New Canaan High School, allowed under the guidelines set forth.
Bowman with the spike. And an excellent shot. No. Excellent power, but not in play on the far side from Stevens.
That just missed.
Yeah, barely.
Right down the line, just a bit outside.
But whenever she does land it in, it's pretty much a guaranteed star play from Stevens. Gravero pops it up. Here's Stevens again. This time it is in. Hahn gets it over. Sneddon. Hahn pops it up. Bowman puts it down. Sneddon dig. Looking for the kill, and she gets it.
Ooh, big kill.
That is a game changer right there, as a player and as a point.
Big kill.
Believe that came off the L. Sneddon assist. And even Stevens is stunned a little bit. She's bracing her heart. Annie Gong, the senior, will serve. Yeah, the small crowd includes all masked parents.
Yep.
And both parents are allowed, not just one, which is great to see. Floating it up is Bowman, Sneddon, Stevens, Herget.
Boom.
And no one could get there.
And that's interesting, as New Canaan wins another point.
Yep.
But you enlightened me, dropped some knowledge on me before this match, because I did not think that any spectators were allowed at a girls volleyball match. But I know there are no spectators allowed for girls swimming.
No, and maybe even virtual meets, which will be an interesting thing to see. I've not seen one.
Yep. Kind of a cool concept. I mean, basically you're swimming at the same time in your own facility, in your own natatorium, pool, what have you, and it would be basically time trials. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would basically, who is swimming a better time. That time would get put up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting. Some schools are, some schools aren't. New Canaan wins the point after the misfire from Bowman.
Now, Darien and New Canaan were supposed to swim against each other
on
this
Saturday.
past Saturday. That did not end up happening.
Yeah, we were going to cover
meet.
that.
That did not end up happening, that meet.
We were going to have a former NCTV student of Mr. Sobolski's come out and help us out. I was trying to help it come together, and then she texts me and says, "Oh, I got a text. It's postponed."
Postponed.
I'm like, we'll find another swim meet. They play later this week, I believe, against Greenwich. The New Canaan girls swim and dive team, that is.
Greenwich, always a powerhouse in swimming.
Score is now 10-6 Darien in volleyball now. Darien won the first two sets. New Canaan won the third. And Darien with a 10-6 lead here in the fourth. Here's, Vaught served it. Vaught pops it up. And denied by Stevens.
Great block. Great block.
Julian Roach tried to put it over. And could not over the very talented freshman Lily Stevens, who was set to serve. New Canaan down 3. And wise decision from Darien to let that one sail by.
That was deep.
Meanwhile, looking at these team schedules for the rest of the week, New Canaan will play Stanford on Thursday on the road. They play each of their next 2 games against Stanford. Meanwhile, Darien will play Wright Tech on the road also on Thursday. Bowman with power. Roth comes up. Sneddon floats it over. Bowman again. Gravero smooth dig and misjudging it was Gillespie.
Again, such a big hit there by Bowman.
New Canaan needs something big here, down 12-7 in the 4th set. Sneddon, Hahn.
Back set that goes nowhere there.
Lockyer. And an excellent play from Sarah Lockyer, her first big one of the night for the senior.
And that was just a kind of a miscue that time by Erin Bowman.
Rare to see.
Yeah, as the ball goes off of her out of bounds.
Just barely grazing her, too, it felt like. So here's Andy Gravero, the star defensive player of this New Canaan team. Over 340 digs last year. She serves it. Popping it over is Bowman. Sneddon with force. Bowman returns it. And she lunged into that one and whiffed. Erin Bowman, that is. New Canaan starting to find some momentum. Trailing by 3, 12-9. Here's Annie Gravero. And hitting in the head of Juju Hahn. A direct shot.
Lori LaRusso is going to call a timeout, and she wants to talk it over with her team.
And El Sneddon just comes off screaming. Well, you jumped that one, Damien. Good job.
Yeah, I saw Coach starting to get out of her chair, and I just figured that means she's going to call a timeout here. It's a cue, as she has seen her team jump out to an early lead in the 4th set here and kind of give it away to New Canaan.
Yep.
As I shouldn't say give it away, as New Canaan has earned every point and has gotten themselves back into this 4th set. Like I said, the winner of this 4th set, obviously, if Darien wins, it's
game over.
It's game over. It's match over. If New Canaan, we go to a fifth set rather, and it's like the 5th set in tennis at a major. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, I mean,
you never know.
If you were looking only at the beginning of set 1 and set 2 of this game, you would think New Canaan was the clear winner.
Yep.
If you looked at the final part of set 1 and set 2, you thought Darien was the clear winner.
Yep.
And if you've tuned in for the whole game, hopefully you have, then it's been really an even match.
Yep. No question.
Darien leads 12-10, and here's Gravero. Herget puts it up. Smacked out of play by Jillian Roach.
Big hit by Roach, but just is unable to keep it inside the line as it's deep.
Yes. A lot of power hitters on Darien. Gravero sends it over. Bowman pops it up. She'll backhand it. Gravero with the dig. Sneddon comes up in a rare mistake from her. Not enough power on that hit. So Darien gets it back here. 13-11 lead in the 4th. Roach. Stevens. Gillespie. Winding up is Bowman.
Big hit.
But Stevens an excellent return, and Sneddon can't get there on the dive. Well returned from Darien. 14-11 with a 3-point lead. Looking to put the game away. Lunging is Stevens. Gillespie to Bowman. Herget puts it over. Gillespie with touch. Excellently placed from the senior as she punches the air in excitement.
Yeah, great effort that time.
From Alex Gillespie, one of the senior captains of this team. That helped with the program revitalization, as you could put it, Coach Kevin Marino has done an excellent job with his team. 2 double-digit win seasons in his 3 years here. El Sneddon misplaces a serve out of play, too strong. But a 34-24 record for him over his 3 years here as the head coach during the regular season.
Yeah, that's he's done a nice job trying to build this program, and he's recruited some really great talent. Some of that talent on display this afternoon.
And Mulcahy is going to misfire right under the net. And I talked to him about the seniors that left, and he says any senior that's lost in this program, just because it's such a culture, is a big loss.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Regardless of the talent.
Oh yeah.
So he was, sad to see that class leave last year.
Hey, you know what? It's like a family.
Yes.
Ian, it's like a family. If you build it the right way, it's like a family.
This is a back and forth. That ball danced on the net. It was kept in play. New Canaan's going to end up winning the point, though, and making it 16-14. Darien still in the lead. And confused a bit of a result. So here is Alex Gillespie. She just gets it over. Bowman, and not getting there is Annie Gravero.
Bowman's been a little quiet.
Yeah.
But that was a big point right there from her. And good players, good quality players tend to rise
in the big moments.
Yeah, well said.
Bowman first started to get shut down in the middle of the last set. New Canaan was able to meet her at the net numerous times. And finally, a wake-up call. Sneddon, a potential assist to Stevens, but denied by the Blue Wave. Gravero. Herget. Bowman.
That's another big point down the line off the hand of El Sneddon. And Bowman puts Darien up 5 here as they extend their lead. And now if you're New Canaan,
it's crunch time. So Rachel Herget to serve. Gravero pops it up. Stevens on the line. Yes! They're going to give it to her.
Yeah. I thought it was close. Coach LaRusso is indicating that it was in. So, it caught the line. It just caught the line, but it caught the line.
When Coach LaRusso tells you what's up, you pay attention.
Coach is always more concerned about what her players are doing on the court and less concerned about calls. You very infrequently see her argue or disapprove or disagree with a call.
Darien will score off the serve from Annie Gong, and she will check out for Sullivan. Excuse me, Wallace. I keep calling her Sullivan. And just a miscue, as you would say, Damian. Bowman found the real estate, and no one was there for New Canaan to make a play. So all of a sudden, it's 20-14, and Darien is 5 points away from winning this game in 4 sets. But before that happens, potentially, Coach Kevin Marino is looking to make one last stand as he'll call a timeout.
Yeah, 20-14 here as New Canaan tries to. It's going to take a total team effort, but as they try to climb back into this 4th set and extend the match into a 5th set, Darien up 2-1 as New Canaan won the 3rd set after Darien taking the first 2. And both coaches in the huddle with their players. I have not to interrupt you, Ian, but man, oh man, there's some really talented players in action this afternoon here in New Canaan on both sides of the net. I mean, Sneddon, I didn't see her much last year, and you can tell why she was the Connecticut
Player of the Year
by the coaches.
As a junior.
And Erin Bowman for Darien has really upped her game as well. And let's face it, very impressed with Stevens, the freshman for New Canaan.
Kill after kill for Erin Bowman tonight. Mulcahy, though, is going to overshoot it. They say it didn't touch Herget, who dove for it.
That's wide, yeah.
And just a lucky break for Darien, because Herget was going for it. 21-14, 4 points away from a victory is the Blue Wave. And overshooting it is Bowman. And that will give New Canaan a window to operate with. Still down 6, 21-15. Mulcahy will check out. Lockyer will check in. Roth to set. Roth to serve. The junior. Getting tense now. Bowman sets it. And a bad mistake from New Canaan as Gillespie finds the floor. Our main guy, Mr. Cebulski, finds the ball. Gets it to Darien. Good throw in, Mr. C.
Mr. C was a runner back in the day. We were talking earlier today.
You were talking about athletics with Mr. Cebulski?
Oh, yeah. Big Denver Broncos fan.
Oh, I know.
Big Denver Broncos fan.
He's got the John Elway posters.
Oh, yeah. Back in the heyday.
The glory days. 23-15. Darien looking to put away this one. They are oh so close. Gillespie gets it over. Bowman, Sneddon again goes into attack mode, and when you need someone to rally around, it's Al Sneddon.
And again, Sneddon putting the ball in a place where it was really just out of reach of Aaron Bowman.
And putting the team on her back down the stretch right now.
She gave it a great effort, just comes up a little bit short.
Stevens serves it. Bowman. Gravero with the dig. Gillespie to send it over. Herget. And that one will be a New Canaan point.
Yeah, that's a New Canaan point.
That was a back and forth.
That's a New Canaan point, yep.
And that's big.
Yep.
Any chance New Canaan might... The scoreboard scoreboard says 24-16. Even though I believe it should be 23. No, they are going to give it to Darien.
They have first called New Canaan point.
Yeah.
And now they give it to Darien, and here we go.
Here's the last stand. Sending it over is Sneddon. And nobody gets it. And that is your game.
So Darien takes the match 3-1.
Deja vu.
Exact same score as last week when they played at Darien on October 1st. And no handshakes with the COVID protocol.
Nope.
Just a wave to the officials and to the teams. And that will do it as Darien improves to 2-0 after 2 wins over its rival New Canaan, and New Canaan falls to 0-2. But really, this does go 4 sets. We thought it might go 5. It does go 4. Some entertaining volleyball. The first 2 sets very similar to one another.
Yep.
Third set a little bit different. New Canaan kind of, I don't want to say blew out, but really played very well in that third set. Comes back and beats Darien rather handily, and then the fourth set, the Blue Wave, right from the word go, they come out strong in that fourth set and really never looked back.
Yep, so New Canaan lost by 3 in the first set, 5 in the second, and the last 2 sets identical, only New Canaan won 25-16 in the last one, and Darien closes it out 25-16 in the second one. Now, before we go, we'd like to mention a few important people. First, some of our sponsors here today. First, our platinum sponsor, Walter Stewart's Market. Walter Stewart's has supported NC Rams athletics in the entire New Canaan community for years. Walter Stewart's is your fresh local market. We also want to thank Educational Futures, OSSM, Performance PT, Rand Insurance, Renaissance Partners, and our Black Rams, 84 Sports, the Athletic Shoe Factory, Dr. Feeney Orthodontics, New Canaan Diner, NC Graphics, Ready Rooster, Shalala, and Togs. So, here we are. The final score, 3-1, just like it was Thursday. Damien and the star, Aaron Bowman for Darien.
Yeah, Bowman, number 9, played really well. The junior, again, she's played on the varsity the last 3 seasons. and as a freshman, sophomore, now as a junior, and she really came to play today. I mean, Herget did a nice job getting her the ball in the wheelhouse that she likes it, and she when she gets it set where she likes it, it's really game over. A very powerful outside hitter, and played well in the middle as well at the net. Darien's block, I thought, was very good today against New Canaan, and some impressive players for the Rams in Snedden and the freshman Stevens.
Yep.
Stevens has a bright future for head coach Kevin Marino. There's no doubt about that. New Canaan off to an 0-2 start. They'll go back to the drawing board, have some good competition coming up, and Stanford's always good, and West Hill, and then, of course, Greenwich, and Darien as well will now move on in the pod and play some other opponents. But again, a great job, as I know you want to mention too, the entire production crew here today did a tremendous job on this broadcast. You guys always do a great job, and it's so terrific that we're able to simulcast this on the DAF Media Network and collaborate and be part of this broadcast.
Couldn't say it better myself. I do want to shout out the people who helped us out. Brendan Tascornia, his first time doing camera, right next to me, and then Amelie Lanoff, our first-time producer. Thank you guys so much for helping us out today. Our phenomenal advisor, Mr. Sobolski, leading the way. And before we go, one last mention of the social media. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCTV78 so you can stay in touch with all the big news in the New Canaan athletic community, in girls volleyball, and around town. And if you're watching this, you're watching on YouTube, on either NCTV78 or DAF Media, please, we'd love it if you liked it and subscribed. From Damian Andrew, I'm Ian Nicholas, and we will see you next time.
Have a great night.